Hi, I'm Barry Brown, the Science Librarian at the University of Montana. So what kinds of information sources might you be after if you have to write a paper for an ecology class or you have to give a presentation in that class? Probably the main source of information that you'd be after would be journal articles. Peer-reviewed, scholarly, research articles. It's the main way that scientists communicate with each other. The way you're going to find journal articles, if you want to do it systematically and comprehensively, is with indexes or databases. So you might use something like Web of Science, probably the most popular science database, certainly popular with ecologists. You might use Google Scholar. You might use Wildlife and Ecology Studies Worldwide if you're after information about organisms, or you might use something like PubMed if you're looking at molecular evolution or physiology. You could also use e-journal packages. Examples would be JSTOR, Bioe, Wiley, which has a lot of different ecology-related journals, Elsevier's Science Direct. They don't index nearly as many journals as the indexes do. So something like Web of Science indexes over 12,000 journals, where a package like Bioe may only be around 100, JSTOR maybe around 1,000 or so. Biggest package, Science Direct, probably about 2,000 journals. So they're not as comprehensive, but they allow you to do a deeper level of searching. You can do full text searching of the whole article. So the traditional indexes, you're looking for keywords that appear in the title, the abstract, or the subject headings of the article. With e-journal packages, you can search through the whole text of the article. Now, often you'll find a bunch of unrelated or irrelevant results, and so the indexes tend to be better, but if you're using the indexes and not finding enough, the e-journal packages can be great. Now, the popular kind of equivalent of a journal article would be a magazine article, so written for the general public in a very general, non-specific way, so that's kind of the popular version. Another kind of information source that you might use for an ecology class would be books. Government documents, which could be state, federal, or international documents, theses and dissertations, media materials, all kinds of reports, non-article type things. So these can be very credible, good sources of information. They could be scholarly or they could be popular. So to find this kind of information, University of Montana, Mansfield Library Catalog would be a good place to look for that information. Or if you want to go beyond our holdings, WorldCat is a database that has the collected holdings of thousands of libraries from around North America and many parts of the world. University of Montana Mansfield Library Catalog has about 1.6 million things. WorldCat probably over 80 million unique items, so much larger. And you can get those things through interlibrary loan if we don't have them locally. Another kind of information source that you might sometimes find or think about would be newspaper articles. Now, usually you'd be ill-advised to cite a newspaper article for a college science class, for your ecology class, but I mention newspaper articles because they're somewhat unique, and for environmental or natural resource issues, or finding out what's going on with wildlife-related issues in a particular area, let's say Western Montana, newspaper articles can be great. They can tell you the names of people or organizations involved with an issue or the history of an issue. So to find newspaper articles, there are specific databases, things like Access World News, LexisNexis Academic, but you can also increasingly go directly to most newspapers and find a lot of their stories online. Another source of information that you might use for some topics would be websites, and you'd use search engines. So obviously Google, but beyond Google, what other search engines might you use? Bing and Yahoo are still viable search engines, and they'll give you slightly different results. So for your own searching, you might always turn to Google, but if you're going to search an academic topic and you're going to do a paper or presentation on it, you might want to use a combination of Google plus Bing and Yahoo to look for information. You'd be looking for website information, so if I were researching something like the potential spread of brucellosis from bison to cattle around Yellowstone, I might want to look at the state agency that regulates that whole area. I might want to look at the federal agency, and I might want to look at an advocacy group and triangulate the viewpoints of all of those different organizations. So once you're researching a topic and you know who the experts are, you might want to interview them directly. People are a great source of information. Grants, so people who do research, scientists, they write grant proposals, and you can use grant award databases from the National Science Foundation or the National Institute of Health. So biggest funder of research for ecology, probably NSF, NIH might do some biomedical related studies, but that would tell you very current research that's going on where maybe people haven't even published on it yet. Increasingly, researchers have to share the papers that they write related to their funded research, and now they're also increasingly asked to share their data sets. Once you have some citations on your topic, you're going to go to the article, you're going to be choosy, and you're going to pick the best ones, read the article. You might go to the bibliography of the article. That'll take you back in time, and you'll be able to expand your search with those cited studies in the article. If you're searching Web of Science or Wildlife and Ecology Studies Worldwide, there are some specific programs called citation management software programs or reference management programs. The library supports RefWorks, and then a newer version of RefWorks called Flow, and also a program called EndNote. There are many others available on the open web. Some popular ones I would mention would be Zotero and Mendeley. Those are both very popular programs. You can store the citations, you can link out to the article or attach the article directly. You can annotate sometimes, you can remove duplicates, and most importantly, you can transform those citations with particular style. So if you have to use a particular style for a course, or if you submit an article someday to a journal and you have to use their style, these programs can really help you with that process. You can also integrate those programs with Microsoft Word, and while you're writing, you can connect to your bibliography and cite something, insert a citation, or create a bibliography. Finally, I guess I would leave you with the fact that there are some main indexes that you can use and then feel confident that you're really searching most of the literature. So the big indexes that come to my mind: Web of Science, Google Scholar, a discipline-oriented index, WorldCat, Google Books, and then if you wanted to start your search with the library general search, it's a discovery search, you could do that. If you wanted to go beyond those main indexes, you could also go into some of the eJournal packages, things like JSTOR, Wiley, and so on, if you didn't find enough. But those are the main indexes, and you can feel very confident that you're finding all the information on your topic if you use those. Good luck with writing your paper or giving your presentation.